All right, at long last. The trusty G1X on is off of the pedal board, and the newer G1X-FOUR is now on the pedal board, and I'm super excited about it. I have really enjoyed this pedal. I have to tell you, and I'm so excited to be doing this video. I'm going to try and do in this video the same thing I did in my G1X on video, and that is to break this bad boy down as quickly and simply as possible so you can get out of the gate and jamming along, having a great time using this pedal, getting your monies out of it. I'm telling you, very, very quickly, you're going to have an absolute blast playing with this pedal. So to do that, I'm going to cover the 4 primary operating modes and the 4 secondary operating modes, and probably eventually a third video I'm going to do the Guitar Lab software. But in this video, we're just going to cover the 4 primary operating modes of this pedal. Keep it as simple as possible. Get you in, get you out. Think of this as like your little video manual, and I'll put an index to all the major points that we cover. Okay, so as it comes, here it is. No power. I can't find any power switch. How do we get this thing on? Well, if we have batteries in it, the way you would power it on with batteries is simply plug in your guitar, and that would power the unit on. I don't have any batteries in this. I run mine on a pedal board with 9-volt power. So with 9-volt power, you just plug it in, and whether it's plugged in or not, it instantly powers on. Let's talk about the jacks quickly in the back here. You have 1/4-inch input here for your guitar. You have a little mini stereo auxiliary input for like an MP3 player, iPhone or something. You can jam along, jam tracks, or play along with your favorite songs. Power in the middle. USB port can be powered through USB as well, also for the Guitar Lab software updates, stuff like that. And finally, on the far left, just above the name, is your 1/4-inch output. Now this is a stereo, it's a stereo jack. I don't know that it's a stereo signal. You can plug headphones in here and hear it in your left, right, both your headphones. It is a stereo jack. I don't know if it's a true stereo signal or not. Okay, so the unit's on. So by default, where do we find ourselves? We find ourselves in primary operating mode number 1, which is the memory mode or the patch bank mode. And we're going to come back to that in a minute. I'm going to cover the interface of this whole pedal first. Because when you power it on, it's good to know what everything would do right here where you at right now. These 2 little buttons up here are for the second video. Those are part of the secondary operating modes, the utility stuff you access with those 2 buttons, so don't worry about it for right now. Let's talk about this row of rotary dials right here. This is a 3-band EQ, low, mid, high, and your output volume. This is the last stage of your guitar signal and your effects chain before it exits here. The volume does control the whole pedal, the rhythm, and looper as well. However, these just control your guitar signal, the process signal going out of here. So again, these are the last stage before the signal exits this. So any changes you make here are kind of static. They remain. You'd have to edit them again as you went on and made changes. Okay, one thing to know about these rotary dials that I really like is if you go slow, it's kind of hard to see. Let's try this one. They go slow. If you go fast, they go fast. So it's really, really a nice touch. And incidentally, I just love the user interface. This pedal is so much easier to use and more intuitive to use. Frankly, you wouldn't even need this video. You spend a little time with this and start playing around, you can figure it out. But if you don't have one or you're looking for a shortcut to get started, I hope this video is going to help you. So again, in this major operating mode number 1 by default, what does the whole interface do? Next is this row of buttons, and this is our patch banks, and we're going to talk about more of those a bit more in a minute. They're outside buttons, get you to the rhythm function, which we're going to talk about, the looper function, which we're going to talk about. These pedals just by default just patch you up and down, and of course your expression pedal, if any of the patch selections is set up with an expression pedal in the chain somewhere. This could be volume, it could be wah, it could be fuzz. You can do a lot, program a lot with the expression pedal. Okay, so that's the interface of the pedal in the default operating mode. Operating mode number 1, memory or patch bank mode. Let's drill down a little bit more into operating mode number 1. These are your patch banks. You have 5 banks. Each bank has 10 patches. 10 to 19, 20 to 29, 30 to 39, 40 to 49, 50 to 59. By design, the first 4 are pre-populated. They're fully editable, but they're pre-populated for you. And the last 10 are empty. So you can program your own in here if you want. But again, you can go in and edit any one of these and save your edits to tweak them as you like. And you're probably going to want to do that because in my opinion, a lot of these basic, like bomb basic, that's just like a bomb, it just goes boom. It's just this huge thundering bomb sort of a thing. Kind of cool, I suppose. Random filters, I'm not going to play it for you again, it's not important, but it's very loud. It's set up very loud. So you might want to edit a lot of these. They just seem to be a lot of these just seem to be too much. Some of them are spot on and really nice. I like them. Okay, so we're still in operating mode number 1, primary operating mode number 1, which is the patch bank or the memory mode. Again, these pedals take you up and down in increments of 1, and yes, they cross over. See, it just switched. I'm going to switch back up. That crosses over. These are just hot switches to get you to the banks. Okay? That's it, other than the expression pedal, of course, for the default operating mode. Number 1, primary operating mode is memory or patch bank mode. Let's talk about the second operating mode, and that is the rhythm mode. Now, in rhythm, the rotary dials take on new meaning, and the pedals take on new meaning. Let's talk about that. Rotary dial number 1 on the left here is your pattern. There are 68 patterns that you can, I think 68 patterns you can select from. Number 2 is your pre-count on or off for when you're in looper function. Number 5 is the beats per minute, obviously. Number 6, BPM. The last rotary dial 4 is your volume. This is the volume just for the rhythm in the mix going out. The pedals. The left pedal has one purpose and one purpose only. Start the... Oh, my headphones are up there by the mic, so that's pretty funny. Doesn't matter how many times you press it, it's just going. That's go, this is stop. Doesn't matter how many times you press it, hold it, doesn't matter what it is, this is stop, this is go. That's all there is to it. Okay? Very simple. So 4 rotary dials for your settings. These 2 pedals only have one function each in the rhythm mode. That's primary mode number 2. Primary mode number 3 is the looper mode. The dials change and the pedals change substantially. Let's talk about the dials and the settings available in the looper mode. Probably you're going to want to leave it as it comes from the factory and just play with this for your volume. That's probably what you're going to want to do because that's the way it works intuitively like a looper. However, you do have some functions that you can turn to if you wish. For the time, manual just means you have up to 30 seconds of looping, of loop length. Even though you can stack overdubs on top of it, it's just a 30-second length looper. Or you can set an individual note count at however many BPM there is. All right, up to 64 notes. So you could do it that way. Again, you're probably just going to leave it on manual. That's the way the pedals work most intuitively. Stop mode is instant. That's probably what you're going to want. You can also do finish where you can kill it earlier and let the loop run out if you want. I don't like that one's a little complicated. It's just not as intuitive. Or fade out. I suppose there's use for those, but again, you're probably going to want it on instant. That's the most intuitive mode. The position, post, or pre, I'm not super clear on that one. I leave it on post. You can play with that if you want to. There's only 2 selections by default. It's post and, of course, your volume. Again, we're talking about primary operating mode. Number 3, looper. Now let's talk about the lower foot pedals because the world's changed down here. This one now, the left pedal now has 4 functions. Okay, another one of the 4s. There's 4 knobs. There's 4 operating modes, 4 secondary modes, and this left pedal has 4 functions when you're in looper mode. The right pedal has 3 functions when you're in looper mode. It's not that complicated. Just stay with me. It'll make perfect sense. Right now, I have no loop going. That's why you can see all this stuff up here. There's no loop going. Everything's good to go. I'm ready to get started. So the first function of the left foot switch is start recording the loop. So were I playing, this is now recording my loop. The second function of the left pedal in looper mode is to close the recording and immediately begin playback. So that close the recording, immediately begins playback. The third function of the left pedal in looper mode is to start overdubbing. And wherever you were in the loop, that's where it kicks off. And it will just let you keep overdubbing and overdubbing as long as you want. It just keeps layering it into the loop that you're playing over fundamentally. The fourth function of the left pedal in looper mode is close the overdub and keep playing the loop and the overdub underneath it. Those are the four functions of the left pedal in looper mode. Incidentally, even though I have an overdub, I can overdub again, and I can just keep doing this. However, I cannot back them out. It's an all or nothing when I stop and clear. Let's talk about that. Those are the first two functions of the right pedal in looper mode. First function, stop. Second function, hold to clear everything. Third function is, if I'm playing my recording, my initial loop, and I mess up and I don't like it, cancel. Just forget it. So those are the four functions of the left pedal: record, close and play, overdub record, close and play. And the three functions of the right pedal in looper mode: stop, clear, and cancel if you're in a loop. All right, that is all there is basically for looper mode. Let's now talk about the fourth major primary operating mode, and that is tuner. Hit both of these at the same time to get into tuner mode. You can do the bypass tuner. You can change your tuning frequency there. It's a really good tuner. I like it a lot. The LEDs light up with green as in tune in the middle. They match what's going on the screen here. I found it to be a pretty accurate tuner. I found it to be a pretty fast tuner. You can see it responding pretty quickly. So I like that a lot. Okay, to get out of tuner, just tap anything. So that pretty much completes the four primary operating modes of this pedal. By default, you're in memory or patch bank mode. You're just patching up and down, and these are just your patch banks. In rhythm mode, operating primary mode number 2, you can select your patterns, your pre-count, beats per minute, and your volume. Start, stop. In looper mode, you'll probably ignore the first three, but you may want to play with the volume. This left pedal has 4 functions. This right pedal has 3. What are these functions? That's your pop quiz. That's right. Start recording the loop, close the loop and begin playback. Start recording the overdub, close the overdub and begin playback. What are these again? Stop, hold and clear, and if you're recording, cancel if you mess up. Finally, tuner mode. Very handy. Those are the 4 primary operating modes of the G1X-FOUR. Tune back in. I'll get to work on the secondary operating modes, 4 secondary operating modes, those being the memory mode, which ran by default, the stomp box mode, the editing of stomp box mode, and the system settings, or just the system utilities. So tune back in for that video. I'll get it up as quick as I can, and I hope this has helped you get up to speed quickly and having a great time playing your new Zoom G1X-FOUR pedal. See ya.